think the first question was The Guardian.
Ian Traynor, The Guardian. A question for Admiral. While the Americans have been keen to surrender command of the campaign to NATO, they have also been far and away the most active single contributor so far. Can you say to what extent the American contribution to the Allied operations will diminish as a result of the change in command and control?
Well, the United States is one of the 28 members of the alliance, together with there are 27 allies. Altogether, they have decided that a unified chain of command under NATO was the best solution for dealing with this crisis from a military point of view, and because this has mean a unified chain of command, a unified political control of the operation. That is the first point. The second, the United States of America will continue as part of the alliance to provide unique capabilities to the alliance effort. So therefore, we are fully grateful to the United States for the contribution they are continuing to provide, and in particular some unique capabilities they do possess.
Nordin Faridi from Al Arabiya News Channel. Can you explain to us, the mission is to protect the population, of course, but the population are both sides, and you are worker in an area which is Libya, with its tribal components, and as far as we understood until now, we are not on the ground, of course, that there are some part of the population still may support Mr. Gaddafi and could be also harmed by armed operation. This is one question. My second question, if you allow me, it's about the supplying the opposition with or the guerrilla with the armament. Is that under your mission? And if not, imagine that one of the alliance is coming with a ship with armament to provide people in Benghazi with armament, and would you allow him or not?
Well, first of all, our mission is made of a three-part. Then fourth, in upholding the Security Council Resolution 1973. And I remind once again the three lines of action, not to be repetitive because this is the reality. It is enforcement of the arms embargo, enforcement of the no-fly zone, and interdiction activity to protect civilians in the populated area. And that's it. Civilians in the populated area under attack or threat of attack. And that we will do for all civilians. We don't look the ID card of civilian. We don't look the IC card. We are on the side of civilian. But let me say, besides your hypothetical question, it is a fact of matter that today the attack, threat of attack is coming from one side, Gaddafi forces. This is a fact of matter. So that's it. As for the second part of your question, NATO has not had any discussion on this issue. So it's NATO, and I speak for NATO. We have not discussed at all the issue, so we are not involved in any of your activity or your hypothetical question. I don't comment on what some allies or nation, now as a nation, they do think or they will do. This is something that is not to me, as a member of this alliance, to judge or to comment. Each one has his own area of responsibility. Certainly, we will enforce the embargo, and we will uphold the embargo. That is part of NATO responsibility.
DPA.
Alvise Armellini from the German press agency, DPA. Admiral, you mentioned that there are 7 countries, non-NATO members, who are taking part in the operation. Would you mind listing them, and would you mind clarifying which NATO countries are contributing to Unified Protector? And following yesterday's meeting, do you expect more non-NATO countries to join? And if I may, just a follow-up on the previous question, it's very clear what you said, that supplying weapons to the insurgency is not part of NATO's mandates. But if that were to happen as a result of individual countries' actions, that would seem to be in breach with the arms embargo that you are policing. So that would pose a very real challenge to your operation. So how would you react if there was a ship carrying weapons going towards Libya? Thank you.
Well, first of all, yes, I do mind, because I think that it is up to those nations who contribute or intend to or will intend to contribute to come out and say if they want to. So I leave it to this nation to make statement, because it would be incorrect on my side to do so. But when I say there are several, because there are several, as some of you already are known in the press, so you don't need really to listen from me. You know better than me. Anyhow, there are several, and other I express interest. And when I say several, I mean several. And therefore, as for the alliance, first of all NATO members, having through the Council, therefore through the government, agreed to NATO taking action, they have provided political support to that. They are contributing. You contribute to an operation not only with the political support, but also in other form, not necessarily providing, let's say, deployed asset. If your question is referring specifically to deployed asset, well, I can tell you that there are probably some 20 allies. Now, I don't have exactly, I have not counted each, but let's say some 20 allies which are providing in one line of action, or in all three lines of action, deployed asset for this operation. As for the second part, first of all, it is a hypothetical question. Second, if I listen what the debate is going, there are those who say that might be different interpretation. So it's not that clear if it would be in breach or not breach of the resolution, and I don't want to comment on that. Certainly we are upholding the resolution, but there is a debate, and you know that this debate is ongoing now.
CNN.
CNN. There are reports now that the British and the Americans are not denying that they have intelligence forces on the ground right now in Libya. Will you continue to take direction, intelligence from these people on the ground? And considering the UN resolution says that there should be no international intervention on the ground, how do you feel about this?
Well, first of all, the resolution said there will be no occupation forces, that is what the resolution says. Occupation forces. And I leave it to you to the interpretation of what occupation forces mean. To me, occupation forces means some has a quite clear meaning, which is not, for one. For two, any nation, not the alliance, any nation has the right to take the decision which pertain to a sovereign government. We are collecting intelligence by allies, are the allies that are providing to the alliance the intelligence. If this intelligence comes from that sources or of another sources of that nation, is not for me to judge. They will provide intelligence, we will use it. It's up to that nation to provide us what kind of intelligence they want to provide. And we are not questioning which sources it's coming from.
Yes, Del Re from the Italian newspaper Avvenire from Milan. I'm here.
Okay.
It was the Bishop of Tripoli today has complained that the raids by the coalition planes have caused 40 victims in Tripoli. I was just wondering whether you have any commentary on this. Thank you.
I have no information whatsoever, so I cannot comment on this because I have no information whatsoever. I noticed that just Allied operation started at 6 o'clock this morning, and that I think means something. And I'm responsible for what the Alliance does.
Oui, Amiral, bonjour, Pierre Benazet de Radio France. Je ne sais pas si vous avez déjà une idée précise sur les sorties, si ce sont plutôt des missions air-air ou des missions air-sol. Si oui, est-ce que vous avez une description de l'endroit où les opérations ont lieu? On a plutôt des rapports sur ce qui se passe dans l'est de la Libye. Est-ce que l'OTAN a l'intention d'agir plutôt vers les montagnes de l'ouest, Zenta, Jamouf, dans cette région-là?
While on one side I think that probably Jean Bouchard is in a better position than me to respond, but having said that, and not to shy away from your question, the operation that the Alliance will carry on are in responses to the requirement on the ground. So the joint operation area, NATO operation area, include the whole Libya. So the operation will be carried forward where is necessary to protect, one, to protect the people, two, to enforce the embargo, three, to enforce the no-fly zone. So the joint operation area is entire Libya and Libyan airspace. So there is no issue of east on west. Is the situation on the ground and the threat that are driving our operation.
Thank you, Admiral. Peter Spiegel from the Financial Times. Earlier this week, Admiral Stavridis was testifying in Washington and talked about the possible need for a stabilization force and that NATO had the capabilities to do that kind of operation, obviously in Bosnia and whatnot. Can you talk if the military committee or even the NAC has started talking or planning at all for a stabilization force? And secondly, he talked about, I think the term was a flicker that he was worried about of Al-Qaeda or other Islamist elements in Libya, particularly within the rebellion. Can you talk a little bit about that and where that intelligence is at this point? Thank you.
Well, for the first part, the answer is no. The Alliance, the Council, and for this matter, not even the Media Committee, has discussed of any hint of the fact of ground forces, because the Alliance has been clear so far. The resolution is clear. The Alliance has been clear so far. And that is, as I said, so far, because this is the reality. What hypothetical question you're posing, I cannot answer that, because hypothetical question you can make 100 or 1,000 hypothesis scenario, and so therefore would be, I think, useless at this stage for me to comment on that. As for the second part, what Admiral Stavridis said, that he has flickers, and you understand better what flicker is, although I do, and I'm not surprised. Are you surprised that in a situation like Libya, where Libya is located, that there is Al-Qaeda in that area, in Maghreb, or is not a mystery? So are you surprised that in a situation of loss of control, of a lack of a control, there might be attempt from Al-Qaeda to get advantage of this? I'm not surprised at all. So there are flicker, they are only flicker, but it's not, I don't think is really news.
Obviously, a failed state in Libya would be the worst case scenario. Nobody wants a failed state in Libya or breeding ground for extremism, which is why we think it's so important that the whole international community has heard the call from the UN to help stop the violence and to protect the civilians in Libya. Over there.
Rafael Cañas from the Spanish news agency EFE. The rebels said, the Libyan rebels have said that the successful offensive yesterday from Gaddafi forces was possible because the presence of several thousands of soldiers coming from Chad, concretely from the Republican Guard from Chad. Do you have any confirmation of that?
No, I have no specific confirmation, no specific element to provide to you, but that Gaddafi make use or try to make use of mercenary is, as we say in Italy, the secret of Pulcinella.
You may want to translate that.
Well, the secret is that Pulcinella, I think everybody knows is Pulcinella, the Napolitan mask.
DPA.
Yes, DPA, Dieter Ebeling from DPA, the German press agency. I have two questions. One, don't you think it would be an advantage if there were a joint interpretation within NATO members of what 1973 allows and what it prohibits? And second, you know the statement by Russian Minister Lavrov, and you probably heard the statement by Mr. Rogozin as well, even much better than we did, warning against a creative interpretation of the resolution and asking for more information about the future development of the mission and in particular operational information. Are you willing to provide that to the Russian partners?
Well, first of all, when the alliance make a decision, is make a decision by agreement by all 28. Therefore, there is today in the Council, therefore in the Alliance, a unique interpretation of 1973. Then if the new events emerge and the NAC has to update his interpretation, they will discuss it. But there is not such a thing as different interpretation as when the NAC take a decision. Otherwise, the NAC doesn't take a decision. So therefore, we are unified in our interpretation so far, and if a new element will emerge, the NAC will discuss and will find a consensus position or not. As for the Lavrov and Rogozin, I don't comment, but we have already had a meeting with Ambassador Rogozin in the NATO Russia Council, in which we gave an information of what the alliance was going and was prepared to do. So there is the alliance has nothing to hide to nobody, not to you, not to the Russian, by the way.
Klaus Hecking from the Financial Times. Just a quick clarification. The resolution 1973 says no occupation forces, and you said for you this is very clear, the interpretation. Could you just please clarify this for us? Does the resolution mean there are any ground forces allowed on the Libyan territory by any circumstances or not? Thanks.
For me, no occupation forces mean that there not be land forces which are occupying that land. That's what occupation forces mean, and that is our understanding.
First question, have the NATO any contact with the National Congress of Benghazi now to coordinate the operations? And the second question about what is the position of the NATO of an eventual request from the International Court to arrest Mr. Gaddafi and his clan?
Please don't forget to introduce yourself.
Dubai Television, Ali Wahida.
Well, as for NATO, as such, no. It's well known that the contact with the TNC Interim Transitional National Council is taken by the so-called contact group, has been taken contact by a nation, by the international community, the one who met in London for the London conference. So this is the kind of political contact which are taking place because that is the proper level for them. We are not coordinating operation with anybody, by the way, among all the members of the alliance and all the members of the partners participating with us in this. As for the second part, this is not in the resolution, so therefore 1973, so it is not NATO member. NATO matter to do this. We, NATO as such, and I repeat once again, we are strictly upholding the resolution. If tomorrow will be other decision by the international community to the legal basis, this is another story, but it's not to me to comment on, speculate on whatever is the future.
At the back.
Jorge Valero del diario Español La Razón. It's two clarifications to my colleagues' questions. The first one concerning the arms embargo. If I recall well, the Secretary General said that the arms embargo will be applied to both sides. So if there is a vessel carrying weapons, even if it's from a coalition member, does the NATO will block the vessel carrying these weapons? And the second question, it's about again about the ground forces. Do you have any soldiers or any ground forces giving intelligence information to the airplanes that are doing the bombing?
Well, as for the first part of the question, the answer is yes. If today there is a ship transporting arms or mercenary, we will stop it and will prevent that to happen. But I'm confident, absolutely confident, that none of the allies who are enforcing the solution is thinking of doing what you have hypothesized in your question. If tomorrow will be other situation, the alliance will make his own mind on that. As for the second part, no, we don't have NATO forces on the ground. If there are forces by nation, presence by nation, this is not NATO presence as such. That's what matters, because we respond for NATO.
Fukushima from Mainichi News, Japanese daily newspaper. Two quick questions. First, just a moment, please. You said several non-NATO countries are participating in the operation. Could you tell me how the command and control will work? Is it like ISAF or K4 style? And secondly, could you tell me since the military objective is to protect the civilians and to enforce the embargoes, how you can judge the completion of the mission? And how long do you expect the duration or the length of the military operation? Thank you very much.
Well, as a matter of fact, we have a chain of command, which is a NATO chain of command, which has been established by the Supreme High Commander of Europe. You know, the operational commander is General Bouchard in Naples, and then there are two component commands, one in Izmir and one also in Naples, the maritime component command and the air component command. In this command structure, there are the partner they have presence with the representative liaison, which allow them to have full visibility of what they do, and so they have full visibility of what NATO does and what the forces does. So it's just through a matter of presence of partner in our structure. As for the issue of how we will judge, but first of all, how we will judge if the arms embargo. So far, we have no evidence of any ship that tried to breach the embargo. We are controlling the maritime flank and the air flank, the northern flank of Libya, maritime and air, and we have no evidence whatsoever of any attempt to, and so that is for us is a measure of success. As for the need to protection the people, how we judge it. When the people will not be threatened or attacked, that will be that we have accomplished our task. And by the way, the duration of the mission will depend on the situation. So far, NATO has said up to 90 days. Up to 90 days, so far. Then we hope will be much less than that, because that means, if it is much less than that means that Gaddafi forces abide to the resolution, because you know better than me what the resolution asked for. Asked for the immediate ceasefire, for Gaddafi forces to stop endangering their own people, and to allow free and unimpeded movement for the humanitarian assistance. That are the three conditions that the resolution is posing on Gaddafi, and the three lines of action are just to facilitate this to happen. We hope that this may happen tomorrow, tonight. Unfortunately, it's not up to the side. It's up to Gaddafi.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
You're welcome.
I think it's 2 o'clock in Brussels, and hopefully we have Lieutenant General Bouchard in Naples. Do we? Can you hear us, Naples?
Lieutenant Commander Major.